What up, everyone? The month of April continues. We have so many more boxes to go. We are now officially in May, but like I always say, the boxes of April will roll easily into halfway through May, so we will get through this month, many more to go. So this time around we got F-Box. You can't tell because they don't have a distinguished box, but trust me, it's in there. F-Box. So, at first glance, this box seemed very uninspired. Not a lot of thought put into it, and not very creative items. And the theme is Game of Thrones. And sweet Christ, am I sick of this theme. We just did the fantasy unboxing for Loot Crate, and I was just saying the same thing. Like, can we officially be done with the fantasy and the Game of Thrones theme? Like I said, fantasy and Game of Thrones are like the two most common themes out there, and it's been done so many times. I have nothing against either of those themes, but like, we're just sick of seeing them. Please, for the love of God, can we please just be done with these themes? Can we all join hands across the world and just like agree to no more fantasy and Game of Thrones? We're good. We're good. We got it. We got the themes. We're good on that. So let's officially have this be the last one. I've packed with Game of Thrones and fantasy stuff. Anyway, enough of that. So, let's just get right into these items. First item we got is a Legacy figure. So, again, I'm sorry, I'm probably not the best person to review this box because I still haven't checked out Game of Thrones. I've heard great things about it. I'm sure it's totally awesome. I don't think I've heard a single bad thing about the show. I just haven't got around to it. Like, with things with this channel and all the other things I like to watch and do, like, it's just something I haven't got around to. So I apologize in advance for not knowing these characters very well. I'm not going to take that too much into account when rating this or anything like that. So, but anyway, a Legacy figure. Basically, these are nice figures. They have their reaction figures by Funko, by the way. They have their reaction figures and their Legacy figures. Legacy is much nicer. I've never personally liked the reaction ones because they're way too simplistic and they look like the old 70s style action figures. I'm still not a huge fan of action figures, but these are much higher in quality, as in like better sculpt, better paint job, more modern looking, and they come in a cool little box. So there's definitely nothing wrong with these, but there's just, again, not much thought into it. This was the same problem we had with last month's box. They have a theme, and they're like, well, what kind of Funko stuff do they have, and just crammed it full of Funko stuff. And this box is no exception. So, although this is a cool figure, it is just a Legacy figure, and this is not hard at all to come by. I was at Target yesterday, I saw the same figure there for, I think they were on clearance or something like that. They're just very easy to come by. So, not that it's bad, just a little too common. And especially considering the theme is so extremely common anyway. And then next, we got two mystery minis. Again, extremely common. But they did have the courtesy to do different editions. We got Series 1 and Series 2. So that was kind of nice that they switched it up a little bit. But again, pretty common. Obviously, these are older ones. I think they just came out with Series 3, if I'm not mistaken. So they're older, but still not hard to come by. They still sell them at most stores. So again, nothing wrong with these, but just very common items. So that's what I meant by this box just seems very uninspired. It just seems like there's not a lot of thought put into it. And, wouldn't you know it, more Funko. This is a mini pop of Jon Snow. So, once again, say it for the millionth time. Nothing wrong with this, but just very common, not hard at all to come by, nothing special about it. And the last and final item, we got Greywood Funko Pop, Game of Thrones. So, when I first saw this box, I thought, wow, this is a really shitty box. Like, you didn't even get what you paid for, and you got just all Funko items like last time, so I thought that sucked. But then someone actually corrected me and told me that this actually is an exclusive. I think it was 7-Eleven. I'm not sure where it was exclusive to. Pretty sure it was 7-Eleven. But why 7-Eleven's getting exclusive Funko Pops, I don't know. I didn't even know they sold them, but this is like the 10th one I've heard of exclusive to 7-Eleven. Very strange. But regardless of that, this didn't have a sticker, and no one else's did either, and I'm very surprised about that, because I would think that's the one thing they would want to advertise, like that this is exclusive, like that's a big deal, and they usually always have the sticker in the corner here, but for some reason these didn't. So if someone hadn't talked to me before and corrected me on it, I would have had no idea. But the fact that this is exclusive does make the box a little more special. So Like I said, Game of Thrones is a common theme, Funko is common products, but at least you did get an exclusive. And I looked this up online on eBay and stuff, and it is pretty rare, and it does go for a pretty high price. So I would say this is the only thing that saved this box. Now, this is what F-Box has been known for, and this is what I've seen in the past. They always put in exclusive stuff. Last month was the exception, because I don't think there was anything exclusive. Although the Leonard Nimoy Pop was somewhat rare since his passing, it wasn't exclusive. Now this actually was exclusive, and this is what it's known for. So, and I was fortunate enough to get this box. Through a glitch in the system, they were only taking orders by phone for a while, and I was fortunate enough to get it. Next month, I missed it. I'm not getting it. I have no idea what the theme was, but I'm not too bummed about missing it. So let's jump into a value of this and talk about it from there. So, the legacy figure. These are right around $10. You can usually find them for like 8 or 9 at some places, and I know Target had some of these on clearance, but for the sake of argument, let's just put it at 10, make it simple. The Mini Pop. These are $5. No real argument there. They should be 5 pretty much everywhere. And then these little guys, same thing. These are 6. Again, I know some places charge more, but they shouldn't be. 6 a piece. And then the exclusive pop. So normally this would be $10, but it gets a little bit interesting here because the value of this is $10 because that's what you pay for it. But since it's exclusive, it does change the value. It's obviously worth a little bit more because it's exclusive. Now, depending on where it's exclusive from, how many it was limited to, and what character it is, so on and so forth, depends on the value. So I did a little research, and these are a little harder to put a value on it because they don't charge more for exclusive pops. It's still the $10 minimum. But something like this, it's kind of only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. When you talk about like exclusive collectibles and things like that, there's no exact amount. But in general, this was selling for about $25 on the minimum. Like I saw it going for a little less, but mostly $25 and higher. So between $25 and $30, but right around $25 is what I'd be comfortable putting this value at because that's mostly what it went for. That may change now since so many people got this box and now people have this, more people did than so before, so that may change the value. So again, it's hard to put an exact value on it because now that these are back in circulation, the price is going to come down because more people have it, more people are selling it. So the reason it might have been a higher price is because F-Box may have bought all the 7-Eleven ones a few months ago because they knew they were doing this theme, and that's what may have jacked up the price. And may have become harder to find because F-Box owned them all. But now that they're back out there, it may change again. So you can tell like why it's so difficult to put values on things like this. But overall, with this at a standard value, you got $37 worth. But when you take into consideration that this is rare, again, 25 it's hard to say it's fully that, but anywhere between 10 and 25, you kind of have to judge in there, and based on how popular this was after the box sold, but anywhere from 37 to about 52. So you got a moderate value. Again, I'm not a fan of the theme. Again, nothing against Game of Thrones. I'm sure it's awesome. It's just been done so many times. It's just dead. So many boxes have done the same theme. And I've said before, like these companies need to be more aware of what other boxes are doing. They need to do more market research and see if a bunch of other boxes have already done the theme, like maybe skip it. I know it gets tricky because they do buy their stuff months in advance to try and prepare for it, so it's not totally their fault, but I know boxes were doing it even before that. They've been doing it for a long time, so I don't think it was the best theme, and they haven't been the best at picking themes, to be totally honest. So, and again, the only thing that saved this was this pop figure. So yeah, I had a hard time putting a value on this one. I'd say anywhere between like a 5.5 and a 6.5. I'm gonna have to think about it a little more while I'm editing the video and stuff like that, and I'll try to come up with a final one by the time I post it. But let me know what you guys think, because honestly this was a very generic box, very generic stuff, except for the one exclusive pop. So without that, this box would be crazy low. It'd be like a 3 or a 4 just like last month's was. And I don't know if it should get like a super high score just because it has a semi-rare one item. So this is a pretty difficult one to put. So anywhere from a 5.5 to a 6.5, because this does make it a decent value. But again, let me know what you guys think. And obviously, try to put aside the Game of Thrones thing, because I know someone that loves the show is obviously going to love this box. So try to look at it from a general perspective of someone for the average person. I feel like the average person wouldn't like this box, because if you're not into Game of Thrones, it's kind of useless. And they're so vague about their themes, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes. But so I'll think about the final score and see from there. The good news is this has a really high resale value, and everything else is okay. It doesn't have a high resale value. But anyway, so it was a decent box. It was cool to see this stuff. Let me know what you guys think. Just got a really quick value here, and we're just going to speed through some of these boxes. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you for watching. Love you all. Peace.